Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and thank you for joining us again today. And we've got a very exciting episode for you, as we do every day here on VCTV. But today, we're going to talk about fundraising and specifically around social media. We know that there's constant chatter about this, whether it be fundraising in a clubhouse room, it be pitching your company on a TikTok, or sending direct messages to investors and to entrepreneurs through Twitter and through Instagram and many other social networks. Even we might talk about LinkedIn as well. What does this look like? Is it happening? What's happening? What are the strategies? What should you know from investors who have done both sides of those tables? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about here today, but big thank you to joining in. If you have any questions or comments new here on VCTV, we've got a comment box. Drop them in there. I'll do my best to ask them in real time to our outstanding guests. And if not, we can't make them. Guess what? We're all available on social media 24/7, 365. And we'll love to continue the conversation with each and every one of you as well. So welcome. And again, feel free to share any comments. And if you'd like to join a show like today, do reach out to the team and or myself, and we'll find that right spot for you. Speaking of team, a big shout out and thank you to the LATOKEN team, to Hasmik and Maria for making VCTV possible every single day. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Remember, comments, questions, drop in the box. Let's go ahead and get started and introduce today's guests. Guys, welcome. Jason, I'll let you kick it off since your background looks absolutely perfect today and you worked so hard on it. You get the first spot. So a little intro, a little background.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle. Glad to be back. Thank you for having me. My name is Jason Jacobson, managing partner with Propellant Ventures. We're about boldly investing in companies that are powering the future. We're focused on investing in companies throughout the greater Midwest of the U.S. in pre-seed and seed stage opportunities throughout B2B industries such as healthcare, future work, fintech, and edtech. And I've been very active in the entrepreneurial and investment community for over 20 years in the Midwest of the U.S. It expands beyond that, but heavily focused in the Midwest, and been really a resource and a capital raiser for entrepreneurs. Also run the Chicago program of the Founder Institute. Been doing that for almost 10 years. We've had over 120 founders complete our program. So I've been very active in a lot of different facets of the early stage community here in the Midwest. So glad to be back, and thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you as well, Jason. Glad to have you. And also excited to talk about the Founders Institute, because a lot of the efforts that you do and the events that you host take place in social media and specific around virtual worlds as well. And for those who may be first tuning in as well, definitely check out Jason and what he does with the Founders Institute online. He drops about it all the time on LinkedIn, so you can see it on his profile there. And today we're on Periscope, we're on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook, and we are on YouTube. So check us out on many social media platforms. Frederick, welcome back to the show. A little intro, a little background for everybody.
Hi there, Fredrik Samuel, serial entrepreneur. I am born in Sweden, but I've been working in more than 40 countries. As that means my accent is completely muddled up. I am right now in Sweden today, normally working out of my London office. So I really like what social media can do in terms of fundraising. So I'm very pleased to be on this specific episode. I look forward to share how I've been working in fintech, prop tech, real estate, and how social media has also helped us to leverage the power of connecting people on both lending and borrowing side.
Wonderful. Thank you, Frederick. And Adrian, last but not least, a little intro, a little background. Welcome back.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here. I'm Adrian Niculescu, serial entrepreneur and investor. My genius zones are marketing, sales, and business development, and I love keeping my hands dirty in these areas. Besides my advisory roles and board member slots, I'm actively involved with CloudCoin Consortium. CloudCoin is a post-blockchain digital currency. Faster Capital, a Dubai-based accelerator and incubator for startups. Saga Global Venture, a UK venture capital company. Also, I'm a mentor in Virgin Startups, Richard Branson's program in UK. Just as an introductory idea, social media became a force that is shaking both the crypto market and the stock market. And it's a new layer to be added to our discussion. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Well, Adrian, let's kick it off with that. I think that's a good way to start today's discussion. I mean, how can social media have an impact on investing on both sides of the table, right? As investors or those that are building for new companies. So kick us off with your thought there.
There are two things I would like to touch. So first, when we are discussing about fundraising, about pitching investors, social media is the channel today, at least until the travel will be back in force. So everybody is now ready to take an online call to receive a pitch without a physical meeting, which is something which will remain like that. And I encourage all the founders not to be shy. I'm an introvert, by the way, so I'm not very comfortable to reaching people in a cold medium, but I'm forcing myself to do that. My advice is not to be shy to pitch anyone you want to pitch, but of course, when you want to pitch an investor, choose I'm calling the ideal investor persona for your project. And the second thing, and I would like to use an example, we all saw the articles about what Wall Street Bets group on Reddit did to the stock market. And one very important lesson is that when something is going big in the media, usually it's too late to get in, and the newcomers are burned. And I'm looking, and social media is very important in this area. I'm looking lately at the native tokens of the exchanges, BNB from Binance. And yesterday I did my first purchase of LA tokens. And I saw that LA tokens, they grew with like 100% over a few days. And since yesterday, they dropped with about 10 to 15%. And I see very big potential in this token. And social media, when we are talking about crypto market and the stock market, I'm not talking here about manipulations. I'm talking here about like the crowdsourcing intelligence to look at the most interesting opportunities in the market, and social media can be very valuable for that. Back to you, Kyle.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Jason, I want to come to you next on this. Anything to add on to Adrian's point, but also just how are you seeing, again, social media play a role on both sides of those table?
Yeah, when I officially got into venture capital in 2017, we rarely met with the investors or the companies we invested in. So I was already used to doing this remotely. We leveraged LinkedIn as a big way to find investors. And so fast forward a few years ago, in the current situation that we're in, but also there's a lot more tools out there now, and really a lot of accelerators in all different organizations that support entrepreneurs have done everything online. And so, at this point, you need to go where the opportunities are. I've been in lots of office hours or demo day meetings with companies that are part of accelerators. So whether it's on all these various meeting platforms, whether it's 3D or 2D, it's to me, it allows you to scale, and you don't have to travel. You don't have to meet people most of the time to find these opportunities. And I'd say the same thing goes with investors, because you can't meet everyone in person, and not everyone wants to meet in person. So whether it's, and a great tool that I've been using to meet investors is called Lunch Club. It's more of a curated match to meet people one-on-one, and you can decide who you want to meet. I've met plenty of investors on that platform. I see it as a way to meet entrepreneurs as well. But just being a part of some of these virtual platforms and going to the events, going to the ones that specifically connect entrepreneurs to investors, they're out there, and it's very common now to meet people that way. And again, it saves time, it saves things are more efficient, and you can meet more people that way. So I'm very bullish on the way things have gone, and I see this as a continuing in the future. Now, we all still want to meet some people, and I'm not taking that away at all from this, but we can do both and really accelerate our efforts by having more online interaction. So I'll leave it at that.
I mean, you bring up a good point, right? I mean, things like Lunch Club and others, I mean, these are groups and organizations bringing people together to do one-on-one matchmaking. And while LinkedIn is a little crowded these days, I mean, social media and the idea of reaching out and connecting with individuals, especially now, right? Everyone is on social media or on their computers more than ever. It's a great time to just reach out. Worst case, no one responds. And, if you're doing your research correctly and using, some of the platforms and tools we're talking about, or even Signal by NFX and 100 other tools out there, you can find these great investors, connect the dots and figure out how to get in touch with them. And from there, it could lead to investment, could lead to a great idea, and vice versa. Pardon me as well. I mean, look at AngelList. AngelList was built on that premise as a social network to connect investors and entrepreneurs, where investors could go and find companies and entrepreneurs building in particular verticals they were interested in. So I think there's going to be a lot more of this, and we'll come to that next as to how this will evolve as we're seeing social media change a lot right now as well. But Frederick, to you, anything to add on to Adrian and Jason's points? And in general, how are you seeing this?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working the first time in an incubator was actually 15 years ago now as a mentor. I think like, what? Time flies. I was younger at the time, obviously. But startups has got social media really as a way to leverage how to find any kind of money out there, which is too much of anyway. The approach of social media in a professional way to one-to-many, and then also to foster and have the dialogue with individuals to really create those touch points which it relates to people actually to, in the end of the day, part with money. Social media is absolutely one of them. So top tip to people listening, to just cold send out a line, a pitch on someone like myself or Adrian and anyone having investor on the profile on LinkedIn. You need to do slightly better than that. You need to be slightly more creative than just pitch cold. At least customize your message. But no, I really believe in this. I have been using Kickstarter to fund a book. I've been working with various crowdfunding platforms and investor platforms that really leverage the power of social media. And so I can't forget it. Yes, it says social in the word social media, and the people who are most successful, for example, in crowdfunding or crypto or anything, are those who actually have got a connection and a personal brand. Is more powerful and useful than ever.
Before we get to future and what's happening next, I want to come back to you around real estate. So you mentioned that in the beginning. I mean, one of the things in areas that you focus on is real estate. How has social media helped connect some of those dots and maybe push that industry forward for you and for investors?
So on the borrowing side, really, it helps substantially to have your personal brand, to have your social following, because in the end of the day, any kind of platform will leverage your reach, your online trust to make the transaction faster. Of course, if the platform is big enough, that will have less power. And in the end of the day, people like to buy into companies and real estate as well as businesses that they believe have got potential, and the founding team or the people actually behind it and what they do on social media does make a difference. So the people who've been funding fastest on all platforms I've been working with, they have had a large following, and they have therefore been able to leverage the platform. So say like, hey guys, look at this platform over here, where I also happen to have a deal at the moment, and that has proven to be really, really successful.
And with that being said, thank you, Frederick. I want to come to each of you on the future. Where does social media go? How does social media change? We watch LinkedIn not change much, and then very quickly started adding in additional features from other social media. So things like Twitter, Medium, and others, bringing in publishing, bringing in newsletters, bringing in stories. Twitter itself has evolved to just, not just direct messages and its Twitter feed, but now you've got, again, the ability to host stories that have 24-hour limits that you can put out anything, text, video, pictures, whatever, to get your message out. We're seeing more activity on the likes of TikTok and maybe even Cameo and others, where now people are helping to get, celebrity or athlete sponsorship or shout outs for their companies as well. So for all three of you, how do you see social media evolving here in the near future for investors and entrepreneurs to meet? Adrian, let's start with you.
Social media is a very good tool for niche domination. When you want to communicate something about you as an investment company or you as about project, the main important thing is the first important thing is to understand very well your audience and to find ways to dominate that audience. So to be one of the dominant brands in the mind of these people. And I like to use an example from YouTube, which is a little bit correlated with the first example I said. There are many YouTube channels scouting the cryptocurrency space for the next gem, DeFi gem or something like that. And some of those videos have hundreds of thousands of views. And based on some recommendations, people are buying these coins. And it's a network effect which is moving the market. And this trend, I believe, will continue to develop. And sometimes this type of interaction with influencers replaces, which is not a good thing, the due diligence everybody should make on a certain project. I gave the example with the cryptos because it's very close to me. But the consumer behaviors can be directed in any area based on the influencing you get from social media. And this is passing everybody's due diligence. So I believe everybody should try to make to differentiate the real information from the fake one based on proper judgment. This is very important.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point there as well. I mean, doing your own research, that's always included, right? So whether it's talking about public or private markets, whether it's talking about, doing your diligence on an investor, on an entrepreneur, you always have to do your own research as well. But Jason, Frederick, same question. I mean, where do you see, and Jason, we'll start with you, where do you see social media advancing to here in the near future, especially for you, Jason? I mean, with Founders Institute, you guys are in these virtual worlds multiple times now a month. Is this what we're going to expect, where we'll be more meeting in those types of environments, or where do you see this moving towards?
Yeah, so I'll mention one thing you brought up about LinkedIn. You're right. There's been an evolution. I was one of the first 8,000 users of LinkedIn, so I feel like I was in beta basically, but it took them a long time to get it right, and the updates you can post now are pretty powerful. And so LinkedIn for me is a personal branding tool and a company branding tool. So having updates on activities, thanking people, extremely important for what I'm trying to build. And it really shows the activity. So all these conversations, I post this in LinkedIn, let people know that these are happening. I post it afterwards to let people listen to it if they missed the live discussion. So for me, LinkedIn is still the #1 business tool out there to build your brand, to build business relationships. And they've done a great job by adding those updates to connect everyone together in a better way. So in terms of all these other tools, virtual worlds, whether you think that's technically social media or not, I think it's probably lumped in that category for today's discussion. I believe they're here to stay. And there's going to be consolidation happening in the industry, which we already see with Hopin. They bought StreamYard, which is the platform we're using today. They bought a mobile events app, and they've said they're going to be aggressively acquiring companies this year. So we're going to see consolidation, but there's also still a lot of new tools out there to meet people. And through the 3D virtual events that we do, we have a startup showcase where startups pitch their businesses, and we can meet companies that way. We get investors and entrepreneurs. And there's all these other platforms that we still don't know everything that's going to be out there. But I think this is here to stay. And accelerators and all these other startup programs, I don't believe they're going to go 100% back to in person. I think there's be a hybrid approach, and the costs have gone down. You can scale these more. And, with these accelerators, as a side note, right now you don't have to travel and relocate yourself to be a part of an accelerator, say in Silicon Valley. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe there will be an online program going forward, even once things go back to normal. But I just think we're in a new era here, and I think hybrid is the way to go, and people will be doing both. But I don't think this stuff is going away.
So real quick, as a follow-up, so pitch competitions. I don't know if you've had a chance to jump into Clubhouse yet, but there's Shark Tank pitch competitions on a regular basis. Is this something that you as an investor, or any of you as investors, are looking at as well? So you've got your direct outreach, you've got your direct inbound as well that you're receiving on social media. Again, you're reaching out to companies, and now joining into these virtual or audio-based pitch sessions where, to kind of quote Gary Fowler, one of the VCTV family members here, I mean, you can be anywhere and hear companies anywhere. And so now you're sitting in this room listening to someone pitch, think that it's a great idea, reach out and connect. Is this something that either of you, or any of you are looking at? And Jason, we'll start with you, and then I'll come around.
I think the answer is yes, but I also think that these need to be very high quality, curated startups, because you can find startups anywhere and people can send you anything at any point, but it's still a very relationship driven process to finding the good opportunities. So with all these tools out there, you still get the best, at least from my perspective, some of the best opportunities still come from your network. Mm-hmm. With that said, it's still important to be a part of these other activities, to be visible, because deal flow will come, and there will be some good opportunities coming out of that. Especially, you'll get some of the demo days with the accelerators. A lot of those are great opportunities, and you get access because you're part of that community. So I see that stuff continuing. It'd be interesting to see what the bigger conferences like South by Southwest do going forward, especially on the startup side of things, because all this stuff could be done remotely. But they need people there for the economy of Austin, right? So, we'll see if 2022 they actually have an in-person event. We'll see if we're past enough this, what we're going through to do that. But I do believe there's more access now, and you can do more things because of the virtual nature. You do not have to travel everywhere to meet good quality companies.
Right. I mean, we're an example of a VCTV. I mean, we can do pitch sessions, we can do, investor jams like this every day, all day. So it's wonderful. Frederick, to you, same question. I mean, are you seeing Clubhouse as something that is opportunistic for you as an investor? And then also, again, how do you see the future of all this developing?
Yeah, even before jumping to that, I'd like to add to the former question as well. So in terms of social media, it is community and connection that people really are looking for more than anything else. So it is the power. So how you use those social media to have the interaction is really, really useful. So one of those where a new tool has just popped up, like you said, Clubhouse. I had so many Clubhouse invitations lately for obvious reasons. The first movers have had a good advantage of grasping this new tool, and also to sell their message in a way where everyone likes to be in the front of the room. If you got anything to pitch, if that's for investments, or you actually got something to sell, well, regardless, it makes a huge difference with being on the right tools at the right time. So yeah, passing the word back to you.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Siri may or may not agree with you there, but nonetheless, I think you're right. These are all opportunities, which is very exciting. And I want to come around for each of you on one big question. And this is probably the most important one our viewers are thinking about is, as investors, how do you filter the noise? And how does an entrepreneur stand out to you if they're reaching out? on social media? You know, what is your advice to those looking to get in touch with you and kind of more broadly investors in general on social media? So Adrian, I'm going to come to you first on this one. I know TikTok is your primary social media of choice, but nonetheless, how can and I apologize to the VC TV community. We've teased Adrian about his TikTok following. He's been trying to grow it. So if you find Adrian on TikTok, just give him a follow, just for good measure. He's trying to grow that following base as much as possible, and being just under 30, I mean, we can do better than that, community. So Adrian, that being said, where do you see and what advice do you have for those looking to get in touch with you on social media?
I will focus on TikTok, by the way, over the next few months, and we'll do something there. We'll keep you posted. The thing is that most founders, when they are pitching, especially on LinkedIn, that one I believe is the most pitched place right now, they only speak about themselves. Do you want to join the party? Something like that. At the end of the day, investors are primarily interested in what's in it for them. So they need to put them in the shoes of investors and to try to build the rapport from the start. I even got a message on LinkedIn, which had instead of "Hey Adrian," it was "Hey contact name" or something like that. And I said, okay, you are using a software, which is nice. But the first message to be automated like that is a shutdown from the start. So first, I would say, from the hundreds of thousands of investors, make a short list based on criteria, what types of investors, what kind of investments they made related to what you want to pitch, and start from there and try to build a rapport. Refer to an article they've written or something else related to their company. Do something to go out of the noise, and even try to build value. If you have a skill which you can offer to an investor to open a conversation, and it will work. This is my best advice.
Thank you, Adrian. Frederick, to you. I saw you on mute there.
So. Yeah, no, I can just... Adrian said exactly what I wanted to say, literally almost word by word. So customize it, stand out of the crowd, and don't think about yourself when you're pitching. Think from their point of view and make it more interesting, really, because so many people are doing it cold. And try for a second to have the word investor on your LinkedIn profile. You will see often what bad practice looks like. So I would say less than 1 in 10 is even more interested to dive into. I like to learn from what investors do. I read them quite thoroughly, more thoroughly than I would and should, but and then give them some feedback. Usually I'm not interested at all, but at least they would get value from at least have tried to pitch me. So why not, as an idea, when you pitch an investment, do what Adrian and myself said, but then ask for feedback on the pitch instead of asking for money. That will hopefully help you to refine your pitch and make it better and better and better.
It's a very good point. I feel like that rarely happens. It's more, hey, can I send you this? More, do you want to invest? Are you investing? It's always focused on the capital, but that's a very good point, Frederick. Jason, same question to you. I mean, what advice do you have for those looking to connect with you?
Yeah, so I do get the bulk of my activity on LinkedIn as well, because that's just a visible tool out there. It's not a guarded system, or it's not a closed environment if you're meeting someone at an event and you happen to find that person. So yeah, some of the best reach outs to me on LinkedIn are, I agree with what the other gentleman said, is, relate your opportunity, how it relates to our thesis. So connect the dots. And then if you happen to, someone told you about me or the fund, put that in there. How did you hear about me? And that will rise above generally anyone else. I mean, I still respond to everyone, and I make myself approachable. A lot of investors are not approachable, and I make myself approachable and respond. But try to have some type of connection there, whatever. Even if they saw saw me on VCTV, have a connection. How did you find out about me? Relate your opportunity to the thesis, and don't assume that I want to see your investment deck. Ask if you can send it to me, instead of attaching it in the LinkedIn message. 9 out of 10 times, or 9.9 out of 10 times, they'll say, send it to me, email it to me. Emails to me is still the gold standard of communication in terms of that type of dialogue. And so I will then say, send it to me. I'll give them my email and have them send it to me. Now, if someone reaches out to me via email first and I had not met on, say, a social media channel, it's usually because it's an introduction or a referral from a trusted source. And that will also rise above as well. But you still want to have the same kind of dialogue, how you met, how you came across me, and how your opportunity relates to my thesis, our thesis. And that shows you've done your minimal amount of homework. Most investors' information is out there, especially if you're a VC. It's out there. You have websites. It's easy to decide whether you fit the thesis. And again, some entrepreneurs I see, they try to relate it to the thesis no matter what, even if it's not as relatable. But you can almost always make a case to be related to the thesis, at least one angle. But anyways, that's it.
Yeah, agreed. And again, there's tons of research out there. We all, as investors, have multiple profiles on multiple networks. We also are chatty as well on social media. So we're either writing, we're putting posts out there, we're doing events, and speaking about our knowledge and insights here on VCTV. So there's plenty of opportunities to do your research to figure out if an investor is either interested or thinking about getting interested in your particular industry, to make sure it's worth both the time. And to Jason's point, and everyone's actually, is context, how you met, where you met, and then also what you would like to continue the conversation about. And Frederick brings up a great point as well, is ask for feedback. Ask for feedback, build that relationship before asking for the check, because what you find out very quickly, and I think disappoints many, unfortunately, is that's not how it works. You don't just say, hi, give me money, and you get money. Instead, you want to build a relationship on both sides, because someone like Frederick, you want to be there to support you as the company grows. That's why, as investors, part of the reason we go into companies is wanting to be supportive of that journey and you growing, and be able to give you our resources as well. So, Frederick, anything to add on that?
Yeah, often what you really want from people that you come across on social media is, like I said before, advice. Often the advice and hints and introductions might be so much stronger than actually asking for the money straight away. So just the trick question is like, do you know anyone who might be interested? So I was like, do you show me the money? It doesn't work like that when people feel robbed. So instead, do the indirect question.
Agreed. And gentlemen, I want to come to a round for any closing thoughts, and then a shout out to where everyone can find you on your particular social network that they can reach out, and we'll add context as they do to make sure it's an exciting conversation. So Adrian, closing thoughts, and then where can everyone find you online?
My closing thoughts, don't be shy, reach out, create your ideal investor persona, which is very, very important, and try to build rapport from the start. Try to add some value. Don't be like a seller of second-hand cards. I don't have anything against, but do something to differentiate. I can be found on many social media sites, but of course, my main communication hub is LinkedIn until something else will be invented. Happy to be here and to come back. And when we'll come back to the blockchain and crypto space, we'll look at the LA token, native token of LA token exchange.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Now, Frederick, to you, closing thoughts. Where can everyone find you?
Yes. So number one keyword to leave you all with is partnership. Think partnerships in terms of your investors or your companies that is working with you in different ways. So I have freed up time in my own calendar by selling off a couple of assets. So I'm looking for partnerships in Singapore, Dubai, and the US for people interested in exactly what we talk about on this platform. So Fredrik Sandvall, very unique name. I have got the first few pages on Google. I love LinkedIn, so you can find me easily. And if you like to tap into other ideas, feel free to find the podcast Invest in You, where we got interesting guests just like this show. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Fredrik. Jason, close us out. Where can everyone find you, and closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think you have to be open to meeting people in new environments. So be open to trying these new platforms. Go where the investors and other entrepreneurs are. It's about relationship building, building your personal and company brand. So be actively out there meeting people in a variety of platforms. There are so many tools and so many online events now that, be active. And find try to pitch your business whenever you can in pitch competitions or demo days. Just again, go where the people are. There's so much access right now, so people can find me on LinkedIn. That's my primary source. They can also email me at jason@propellant.vc. That's another good channel to reach me as well. So I appreciate having me on the show again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jason, Fredrik, and Adrian as well. To our audience, make sure you check out all three. They're wonderful individuals and investors as well. They'll give you feedback, and they might even be interested to do more with you and your company as well. So definitely reach out. Remember, add context where you heard them, where you met them, and what you would like to continue the conversation about. And start it off by maybe asking for some feedback as well. And a big thank you to tuning in today to here on VCTV. If you'd like to be on a show like today's, do reach out to the team and or myself, and we'll find that right spot for you. A big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria and Hasmek for making VCTV possible every single day. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and you can find me everywhere online on social media as well at Kyle Ellicott, and again on all social media platforms, just like Jason, Fredrik, and Adrian mentioned as well. Reach out. We'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation. We'll be back here after a short break with more VCTV as well. Take care, everybody. Bye.